How's the blood in the running back room? What's it been like working with those guys, and what do you see from that group as you're heading toward week 1?
I like the group of guys we have. A lot of different skill sets in there, and everybody's pretty versatile. Like James and Darrington, they're good out of the backfield on the catch, or you could have a big guy like Davis Murray, big back running through the tackles.
You got 2 veteran guys there, new guys there, Latavius, Harris. Kind of what do you see from there? It seems like they're both kind of big personalities. What do you think about their leadership or their personality?
Dane definitely has a big personality. Latavius is a little more reserved. He doesn't play like that at all. As soon as camp, he plays with his pads. The same thing for Dane. He's a smaller guy, but he's still he's a big power back. So.
What do you think about the ability of the offense to run in short yardage better than last year with Dane?
Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for our offense. Whether it be short yardage or whatever first second down. These guys, bigger backs and the way Dorsey uses them and how he puts people in any spot, running back to be spread out wide as a 0 and anything like that. So I think Dorsey will put us in the best position to be.
Reggie, we've talked to Damien about this and whatever. I would just ask you, how much do you get a sense of maybe an increased priority on doing more around Josh to take some of the load off his shoulders in terms of what he does?
Well, yeah, Josh is Superman. But we all know that we all have to elevate. He elevates everybody's level of play around him, and the more that we can take off his plate, the better this offense will be.
Rolling during training camp. How do you feel? And all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I missed about a week of practice during training camp for but I'm back rolling, running full speed, so I feel good. I like running around.
Pro football played in the last couple of years. How did you role involved?
A lot of people would say that the fullback position is a dying breed. I think the opposite. I think we're making our way back, with guys like Kyle Juszczyk and C.J. Ham and those type of players. But it's like when you get an offense like this one, there really are no set positions. Anybody can be anywhere, and that's the beauty of it. What Ken Dorsey does. So I wouldn't say that a fullback is a dying breed, or whatever people are saying over the last couple of years. I just think that it matters on the offense here.
But is your role different than maybe if we were talking 2 years ago?
Maybe a little different, just because of coordinator change, but I wouldn't say it's too different. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of fullbacks don't get any love anywhere almost. So making a play anytime, in any position is a big deal. But as a position that's quote unquote dying, it has a little extra to it.
How much of a chip does that put on your shoulder?
I've always had a huge chip on my shoulder, just coming from a small school in Columbus, and then going to the MAC and playing fullback, and then getting here as an undrafted guy. So it's like I've always been doubted. So I'm always playing with something to prove.
Playing a position that many do view as fleeting, what do you do during the off season and your off time to kind of reinvent yourself and make sure you're staying ahead of things and making an impact in the offense?
So I train with every position. I train with DBs, I train with running backs, receivers, tight ends, whoever, because I know my skill set could be so wide. So, maybe I'm working this step with the receivers or this blocking technique with the tight end. So really it could be anywhere. So I don't like to categorize myself in one position when I'm training, because with Dorsey, you never know what he's going to ask you to do.
We've seen you line up only with some of the tight ends, Dawson and Dalton out there. What's it like playing next?
Two really, really talented players, and it's like I'm trying to soak up as much as I can for them, because who knows, maybe I'll be playing tight end one time. So I have to know, maybe I'm not being taught that directly, but whenever they're teaching them something, I'm, listening in, like, okay, what are they telling them that I can apply to my game? So if I'm asked to be in that position, I'll be ready.
You were, not too long ago, you were in the position of a lot of guys out there, undrafted, coming down to the wire, trying to fight your way onto this team. Do you reach out to some of those guys in those positions, or are you vocal to try to pass along your experience and how you navigated what is probably the most stressful week these guys have ever had?
Yeah, absolutely. But even before that, I talked to guys from my high school and guys from Toledo that are, their chances don't look great for them, but they maybe played really well in the MAC, but that doesn't always correlate to being drafted or having a spot on the roster somewhere. So I tell them, like, just keep doing the right thing, putting one foot in front of another, and that team will come calling. If you can play ball, they will find you. That's why I always tell people. And then the guys that are here that are maybe fighting for a roster spot are right there on the bubble. I'm just like, you can't really do anything but do the right thing. Like you can only control what you can control. So just keep putting your best things on tape, your best techniques whenever you can, and maybe if the Bills don't keep you, somebody else will.
How hard is it to not maybe number pounds or amplify what those opportunities are?
It's hard because you don't get a ton of reps as one of those roster bubble guys. I was there, especially playing fullback. So it's like you really have to maximize each rep. A lot of coaches say forget it, next rep, but like you can't do that because like every rep matters so much when you're a bubble guy.
When you first got here, did you say to yourself, I got to make that special teams? I mean, that might be an important way for me to find a way. Were you thinking that way?
Oh, absolutely. So in college, special teams was my thing. That's what I did most of. So I knew coming here that if I wanted to get a helmet on Sunday, I had to play special teams. That was the only way I was going to make it because I knew that they already had a fullback here. Pat DeMarco was the fullback when I first got here. So I was like, if I got a shot on this team, it's going to be running down on kickoff. It's going to be blocking for a punt. Anything it may be. Like anything they ask me, I'm ready to do it.
Last year, James showed potential with his speed, passing game, things like that. Now he's taking on more of a bell cow role. How have you seen like him evolve between the tackles, pass protection, doing those types of things to really become an RB1?
Yeah, James is progressing very well, and I've always seen it since he first got here. He has very quick bursts, in small spaces, everything that you would want in a bell cow back. And just to add on his receiving skills, it takes him over the top. So I think he's primed for a big year.
You guys were second in the NFL last year in yards and points on offense. We added Damian, tight end, first-round draft pick. I mean, do you think, regardless of numbers, the offense can be more diverse or better this year?
Absolutely, and with Ken going into a second year, getting a better feel for more and more things, and all the weapons that we have, like I said earlier, that everybody's really positionless. So I think that we have all the weapons and all the pieces we need to be successful.